Welcome back to the Ride and Laugh podcast. If you love mountain biking, you are in the right place. Picture your last really fun group ride. You're back at the parking lot. The stoke is high. Everyone's talking about bikes, tech, nutrition, flow, jumps, drops, all the things that we talk about every week on Ride and Laugh podcast. You love bikes. We love bikes. Let's drop in. Sage, how are you today?
Danny, I am doing so good, bud. I was so jealous of your little boo-boo that I decided to match you with a little boo-boo of my own. Yeah. How about that?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No,
no.
Bloody
We're
sheets?
twinning.
Or
no?
Wrong elbow. Mine's just about healed. I'm just about healed.
Oh, we're opposite.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, yeah. I did my left hand. That must be your right.
I always fall on the right. Almost always on the right side.
That's right. We did a whole pod on that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You almost ask me questions and then you're like, no, this deja vu. Is this deja vu? Or did we already do with this podcast?
I know. Yeah. It's, I went down in the most ridiculous manner. It's quite embarrassing. I fell.
Isn't it always?
Yeah. I fell on pavement, dude. I went to Mountain Creek, and right before you get on the lift, they have that nice long pavement area, and I fell in front of everybody and just laid on the ground while Ethan laughed at me. Yes, I swear to you, it was so embarrassing. Oh, yeah.
Why? Why did you fall? What happened?
Well, I got new tires. And so I replaced both the front and back. And I didn't know this, but that when you get a new tire, there's like a sheen on the rubber. And so typically, on the dirt, that doesn't make a difference, so I'm doing my do you ever do this on like new tires or new tread or anything? And you just kind of like, you make like really sharp turns back and forth as if you were in like a slalom race or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? With deep turns where you're like, womp, womp, womp. Anyway, I'm doing that.
You're doing it because they're new tires or because I've seen you do that. You do that all the time.
I know. I do it all the time. Yeah, I was doing that because I had new tires. So I can't wait. And I hit that pavement and wham, washed right out. And there I am on my rear end in front of everybody. Ripped my shorts and everything. Oh yeah, it's bad.
You ripped your shorts?
Yeah, it's just bad. I had this bruise on my hip. It was,
it went down hard on pavement.
I did. Yeah. It's always the most ridiculous falls that always hurt the worst. And, or hurt the most, I should say. And it was more than anything. It was just really embarrassing. Like the lift line, it was the weekend. So the lift, it was jam packed. And there was Oktoberfest on one side. So we had all these like people drinking. And then, we had the water park going over here. And then the people, oh God, everybody was there. It was, yeah.
Isn't that guy a coach? Is that guy a coach?
Wasn't he just here?
What am I paying for here? Pretty sure I could figure out how to do that on my own, like just randomly fall on pavement. I had no idea that there was a coating on brand new tires, and that it would be slippery.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of a sheen to it, and it doesn't matter if you're on dirt. But man, I was on that pavement. I just slipped right out, man, like ice.
Well, my wound was from the beginner jump line at Desert Trails, which was pretty lame, to fall on the beginner line when I'm like already doing really well on the harder line. But that, just going to the left, that definitely tops it. Tops it. Now, what happened that you were getting new tires at the bike park? Because when you and I were at Blue Mountain Bike Park about a month ago, you got a flat. And we were able to plug it and you rode a little bit more. But we noticed that the tires were like needed to be replaced. And that was like going to be something you were going to be working on. And we were glad that we avoided buying the tires at the bike park because they're so much more expensive, at least at Blue. What happened that you go to Mountain Creek? So you never replace the tires, these like worn out tires. And I mean, what happened that you're at the bike park and then you have to replace two tires?
I'm actually quite grateful that this happened because the way that Mountain Creek, your bike stays with you. Like, so you get onto a gondola and your bike is actually with you. Whereas most other bike parks I've ridden at, your bike gets loaded onto a separate tray and then you never see it again. Yes. Well, I'm riding up the gondola and Ethan and I are looking at our bikes and he's like, dude, your tires are totally roached. And then he's looking closer. He's like, yo, your knob's coming off. And I was like, oh no. Cause I've had this issue before with the Butcher tires. And sure enough, I rotate the tire and they're about like 5 or 6 knobs that are just literally, you could see the fabric underneath the rubber. Like the knobs are just coming off. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And Ethan's like, dude,
just
you can't.
For it.
Yeah. He's like, dude, if that goes out when you're on a turn, like it's one of the scariest flats that you can take. And I was like, oh boy, well, now that you said it, like, I'm not going to be able to get away with it. So yeah, I went down and just had both the tires. I was initially going to do just one. I ended up doing both because they were both in pretty bad shape. So yeah, man, got two new shoes and they were fantastic. Oh, so good.
What did you put on? What did Mountain Creek recommend? What did you want? What did they have?
You're gonna be jealous. I was gonna get the crypto towels or the Continental crypto because you love them and they look great and I hear great things about them. They're so expensive. I mean, they were bike park expensive. So they were like, 120, 130 bucks. And I was like, what's the cheapest?
Oh my God.
I know. I said, what's the cheapest tire you have? And he says, well, we got these Schwalbe Radials, the Alberts. So I got Radial tires, man. I'm a little excited.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That was going to be the next. I have Radials to put on whatever bike I decide to work with. And at first, when they first came out, I only heard positive things. And then I started to hear like some negative things also with people not liking them as much.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit nervous. It is a whole, I mean, did you get an impression? Does it feel different than your normal tires?
I have nothing but nice things to say right now, but let's keep in mind I've only gotten one ride. I only got that one ride at the bike park, but man, I mean, to be honest, like anything would have been amazing because my tires were so rushed out. But here's what I'll say about the Radials. They actually sound and feel different. I can't explain it, but like there's a sound that the tire makes when it's making contact with the rock. And I can't explain it. It almost feels like it's wrapping around the rocks, which is really weird because the sidewall feels really stiff. So it's like, it's literally where the tread is, where it's like conforming to the stuff, which is what you're reading about. So I don't know if it's like psychologically playing into it, but man, it felt amazing. It felt so good. Again, I'm not ready to give my full endorsement yet because I've only gotten one ride at the bike park, but yeah, so far, very impressed.
Yeah, I'm curious if that extra traction is bothersome when you're climbing. Is it creating more drag?
Yeah.
Right. But traction is awesome. Like I will take the traction instead of not the traction. Like, if by that means we would just go with like, slicks all the time if you don't want any sort of drag on the climb. So there's obviously a balance there of rolling resistance and traction, which, everyone kind of nerds out on when you're mountain biking because tires are probably the most important thing on the bike.
Yeah.
I was watching a video, I forget what it was, but it was talking about like components, geometry, and, it was like the expensive version of the bike with the cheap or, with all the expensive components or the aluminum version of the same bike with the cheaper components. And I should figure out who did the review. It was a YouTube video because it was really cool. I'll put the link if I can find it. I'll put the link in the show notes. But essentially it was like the only thing that matters is the geometry and the tires. A couple pounds here or there, all the components work really similar. The forks, like unless you're, really into dialing in your suspension, the forks like work great. It's just how adjustable do you want it? Mm-hmm. And then, really the weight of the components, but, modern derailleurs shift. You get the high level one or the low level one. It shifts well.
Yeah.
And, so it's like when you get the geometry that you want and then tires and grips. Things, contact points.
Contact
grips.
points. Right.
Yeah. Did you change, if you want to comment on that, but also did you adjust the PSI that you're running the Radials at?
No, I kept it. So when I'm at the bike park, I run 2 PSI higher than I normally would. So normally I run 22 front and back. So I just had them fill it to 24, which is what I had it set at.
Yeah.
And they just feel really good right now. And I don't know if it's just because I've been running Roach tires for so long. Versus these tires are actually going to be good. So I'll need a few more rides at like Mount Penn or something like that to really give it a, yeah.
if listeners, if you want to comment in on the Radial tires or what your favorite tires are, we've had some of this conversation before, but really interesting that you're trying the Radials before me because I've had them in the garage
I know
for like months. I just haven't needed them yet. Yeah. Well, I think I flatted my rear tire and I was in the shop and they had the Continental Crypto Tall, however you say that.
Yeah. Worst
word.
name.
Really, these tire companies could really like hire Ride and Laugh to name the tires. Like we can come up with way better, easier to say names. First person, third person, like we could figure it out. We can get it all the person.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing Jeff Jackson, great listener and YouTuber.
Yeah.
Check out his Instagram page. Really, really great rider. But he rode the Radials, and I think he was saying more PSI. That you would want to run them actually 2 or 3 PSI higher. So just to comment or anyone else that's used the Radials, how you're doing that. Yeah, really, really interesting. Because I remember thinking like when I mount these up, I want to text Jeff because I remember him like saying something about adding PSI, which is kind of like where everyone's been going the other direction, right? You want to get the cush core or a tire insert so that you can take PSI away. So you get a larger contact patch.
Yeah.
So, but with the Radial, somehow the sidewall supported enough where you want a little bit more PSI. So play with that. See how that feels. And Jeff, you can let us know what you're doing or anyone else that's using the Radials. Curious to see what everyone thinks about them. So, All right. Well, it didn't look like you had that many runs at Mountain Creek. I knew you were going Saturday. I looked at your Strava and it looked like Ethan like rode all day and it looked like you didn't. Was it waiting?
Yeah.
Was it, what happened?
I missed about 3 runs for sure while Ethan was, because you're in line. You got to get in line to get the tires in, and Ethan got about 3 more runs. Yeah, it was not a good day for riding per se. And when I got back from the repair shop and we did a couple more runs, like 2 runs later, Ethan got hurt, so we had the day ended quite early.
He did?
Yeah. He was. We were on Dominion, Lower Dominion. And he went to clear that gap. You know how they had the triple jump? And then right before you get to Salvation, there's that, I guess it's a gravel road. Well, Ethan can clear that whole road. Like he can gap that whole road. And he's like, yo, can you get this on footage? And I was like, sure. And he oversent this thing. Yeah, he oversent it and popped his shoulder, like dislocated his shoulder. And it was,
I did read something about that he just dislocated his shoulder. He didn't crash. He just dislocated. He just popped his shoulder out of the socket.
Yeah. He saved
because the landing was so harsh.
Yeah.
Even on a downhill bike. I
know. It was crazy. He didn't actually like fall down, but like it definitely like the bike yanked his like shoulder. He like had to like pop it back in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was crazy, but he was done after that. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Like, it's okay. It's one of those things, Danny, where you go with the flow. I was like, all right, this day wasn't for my riding. For whatever reason. Yeah. I was meant to get new tires. I got a couple runs in. I felt great. Would I've liked to have gotten more? Of course, but at the same time, I was like, okay, this is what it is, and I actually stayed positive the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah, no expectations.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's happening for you. Like that was the day you were supposed to have. And same thing happened to me at Bean Peak. When my bike exploded before I got to really like hit the really fun stuff.
That's right.
And was like, okay, I can be really upset about this, or I can just go with it. It happened. Yeah. So I'm not going to add more negative thoughts about it. Certainly, and we talked about this last week. When you crash, when you had the physical pain, that's a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
But just see what happens. Just go with it. See what happens. Let go of the thoughts around it.
Yeah.
Stay centered, stay positive, and you're going to get what you need.
That's right.
Just trust it. You're going to get what you need. It's all going to work out for the best. Live in that space and see how that works. And then you can look back and be like, wow, that really did all work out for me. And that's a great feeling. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
How's Ethan doing?
The shoulder pops are one of those things, like this was his first one. So like it went back in and it's swollen and stuff like that, but you can recover from that. It's obviously a little bit more susceptible. Every time you dislocate your shoulder, it gets more susceptible, but because it's his first one, you have an opportunity to build the muscle up, and he's real big into weightlifting, which, I highly recommend for mountain bikers. Like Good to have. Not only is it good to have just extra muscle for padding, but it's also good for this stuff. You know, you get an injury and keep everything in place, keep good posture. So, and Ethan's he's a big boy. Yeah. So good on him.
Yeah. He races downhill. For anyone that hasn't been listening, Ethan is a friend of Sage's. I got to meet him. He's a listener. I got to meet him at Phoenixville Bike Park when I was in Pennsylvania. Really good rider, really fast, really strong.
Talented. Yep.
And young guy who's into downhill racing and just so cool. Just really, really awesome rider.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he overshot and hurt himself because this is something that we have been talking about. Right. The case versus overshoot.
Yeah.
And on episode 17, embrace the case, mountain bike jump tips, flat pedals, and riding aggressive.
Okay. Nice transition.
We talk about the benefit. Yeah. Thank you. This is sounding very professional. What happened here? I didn't get the script. Are we being professional now? What is this? You want to talk more about the second person instead? Should we talk about who the second person is? Because I don't think we ever figured that out.
Yeah, we didn't figure it out.
All right. Mark wrote in that on the case versus overshoot subject, in his most recent video, Phil from Skills with Phil mentioned he'd rather case than overshoot. You can usually ride out a case. I personally experienced the danger of overshooting and paid for it with a collarbone surgery. I believe you were there for that.
Oof.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty relevant to what we were just talking about as far as, Ethan overshooting and we had a few comments saying like, the overshoot, it can be just a lot more dangerous.
Yeah. I think, and just to be clear again, we're not talking about drops. This is strictly for jumps. And I would agree on jumps,
right? The
case is probably a lot safer. Yeah. The thing is when you overshoot, there's no way to correct, With the case, it's like you can kind of do stuff a little bit, right? Like it's like if I know I'm coming up short, I can like kind of pull up a little bit.
Yeah.
On the overshoot,
like you can kind of push the bike in front of you a little bit sometimes.
Brace yourself a little bit. With the overshoot, it's always a terrible feeling where you're just like, oh my God. It's like it's never a good feeling. It's a very dead sailery type of feel. So I agree. The case is the way to go.
I think if you're overshooting too, then you're going faster and probably higher than you're supposed to for the trail. So who knows where you're landing, but you're also just like, there's more force involved. Whereas when you case, there's not enough force. You haven't jumped far enough, but when you overshoot, like there's more of everything.
Yeah.
So that might be part of it also. I just have so much more experience with casing. Because I typically, I typically brake check and I'm scared, to let go.
Yeah.
And so typically I'll case and then I'll land it, and then when I start landing it, I'll start landing it properly.
Yeah. Right.
Very rarely have I found myself like completely overshooting a jump, which I did do at Halls and I crashed.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, either way, you case or you overshoot, you've screwed yourself for the next jump. That is if there are consecutive jumps, there's no winning on either one. It's not better to do one or the other. I kept going to flat at the local and then I didn't have the speed to get the jump. If I cased, same thing. You don't have enough speed to get so the outcome is the same for either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take your time. Everyone, listeners, when you're learning to jump, find a jump that you're comfortable with and just take your time. Give yourself a lot of grace.
Yeah.
You and I talked about our jump gauge. When we look at someone like Skills with Phil and he's riding a trail blind for the first time and it's a jump trail with massive gaps and he just seems to know how to hit each one of them perfectly. And like, how do we get to that point?
Right.
And Zan from Sploosh MTB, great listener, also a great YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Check him out. He said, I feel like my jump gauge has gotten really good in the last year or two. I think it just takes time and understanding of how you jump, and he capitalized you, how much you pop versus scrub and hitting multiple different types of jumps. It just dials in the feeling to hit a lot of things for the first time.
Yeah. Yep.
That confidence of seeing the jump and just like, I know what to do here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the hardest things in mountain biking is staying true to thyself. Like when I was riding with Ethan as an example, he's such a good, he's just a great rider, but he's really good at jumps and he knows what he's doing. And it's like, I found myself.
And he's on a downhill bike.
Right? All these things. And he's young, so he picks up things very quickly. I found myself trying to.
Oh, wait, sorry. That's it's not relevant. Sorry. It's getting awkward now.
But I found myself trying to do everything that he's doing. And I'm like, whoa, buddy. You're not Ethan.
Yeah.
You are Sage. And let's have grace. So, he's not casing anything first jump. And I found myself like going, and I was like, okay. And I was like, whoa. No, you need to pre-ride. You are a pre-rider. Let's do the pre-ride. And I had to catch myself a few times.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's really hard.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So what trails did you ride? Did you ride Tempest? Obviously, you said you went to Dominion. How were you feeling on the jump trails after our day there? Because our day was a breakthrough day for you when you cleared all of Dominion.
Yeah,
I was excited for you to go back.
Yeah, Ethan, he talked me into some tech trails, which I couldn't believe. So we did do Tempest, but like halfway through Tempest, we like broke off and did like a tech trail. We did do Dominion, but instead of taking it all the way down, he took us on like a tech trail before Crapshoot. Like he kept throwing all these tech trails in, which was, I have to say, interesting. I don't know that that's how I would want to spend my day at Creek, because the tech trails are
Denny's getting very upset. Denny really wants us to ride the tech and not Creek. And we're like, we're not doing it. And then Ethan's like, let's ride tech. And he's so handsome. You're just like, okay, I'll do whatever you think. Yeah, let's ride tech. Dennis is like, what am I, chop liver? What do I got to do? What do I got to do to get these guys on tech? Dennis, if you ride with us, I'm sure you could convince us. Maybe. I don't know.
I tell you what, Ethan was showing me some stuff, and I got to tell you, there's some really big slabs and stuff. We didn't get to hit the one slab that he almost talked me into. I was just like, oh boy, this looks good. And yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I got to hit all the stuff, but I didn't get a good feel that day for any kind of a rhythm, because we kept changing up the stuff, which I think is what normal people do when they get to a bike park. Like whenever we go to a bike park, it's like, it's just a very, you know how when you ride in Strava and you look at it, the line just gets darker and darker. Like we just have like two lines. And they're very dark. Yeah. But most people
warm up. Jump line, intermediate jump line, expert jump line. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Depending on the park, it might be 3 trails, it might be 2 trails.
But everybody else, it's like, you see, it's like usually a spider web, and that's right. Yeah, it's more what, like, I think more people
we need
do
to practice the jumps.
Exactly.
That's what we need to practice on. Like, we're pretty good at tech. We get lots of tech. When we go to an East Coast downhill mountain bike park, lift assisted. Yeah. That's a day to practice those jumps. We're dialing in our jump gauge. We're figuring out our jump gauge, and it's just that repetition, getting comfort, stacking wins, getting comfortable, having grace. Okay. Maybe I'm casing this one, but I'm going to get it next time. And it's what we want to do at the park. I know that there's awesome tech trails at Mountain Creek. I see Denny Genetti's videos. Everyone check out his YouTube and his Instagram. He loves the tech there. He does the jumps also. He's there all the time. He's a season pass holder. I know there's awesome trails there. I would love to have the opportunity to say, we're at Mountain Creek for 3 or 4 days straight. Let's ride the flow trails, get super, super comfortable, and then let's check out some of these tech trails.
Yes. Right? You know what's crazy, Danny, is like, so I mean, you just made the statement that we're good at tech and we love riding tech. I got to tell you, like, Ethan, another level, bro. Like, I know he wasn't even going like half speed. You know what I mean? But partly because he told me, but like also. But also, like, he's
good thing he's so handsome.
But also, like, he's not out of breath. He's not like, he's nothing, he's just like riding this like as if it was just like his home trail. And I, on the other hand, I noticed that like the minute that I made any kind of like self-doubt in any move, he was gone. He was going half speed. And if I even this nervous break just once, he was gone. And just like what it meant to me was just like, wow, like people that can ride. And I know you've seen this because the riders that you ride with in Arizona are next level. And it's like,
I have noticed this many times here. Yes.
It's crazy, bro. Yeah. How do they do that? How do they process that at such a rate?
I was gonna point out that he is a pro level downhill, or like he is racing
pro.
legitimate downhill. And he is on a downhill bike.
Right.
And he may have been on those tech trails before and you had not been.
Of course.
So you're on a trail bike, he's on a downhill bike. So there's certain advantages there.
Right.
And as you're telling the story, I'm thinking about some of my rides with some of these really high level riders out here. And yeah, I could say that, you know, Joe and Steph and Mike and some of these riders I've been with and Jeff Windsor, they know the trails better.
Yeah.
But the level of the level of speed and separation it's mind-boggling. There's people that are just mind-boggling fast. Rob Drew, another one, you know, just like unbelievably fast. And yeah, there's knowing the terrain, but there's also just something about, I think it's about really staying perfectly centered. I think that, you know, everything that we talk about here on Ride and Laugh, keeping the wheels rolling. Last week was a really great conversation about braking, which I have some more input on. I think, you know, it all comes together, and on the really experienced, really talented, really athletic rider with the right bike, it just unlocks into like warp speed.
Do you think that processing power plays any kind of a role? And is that something that's genetic, or is it something that we can get better at? Like all the things, yes, to everything you just said, right? Body position, braking, and just having good technique in general, like that all makes sense. But there has to be another level to this. Like I think some people just can process, you know, their CPU upstairs just works quicker. You know, like I'm sitting there and I'm getting overwhelmed. Like my brain computer's overheating. Like I'm just like, woo, you know, I get done the trail and it's like steam is coming out of my ear. You know, I just, yes. Yeah. Oh boy.
No, I totally understand that. I know what you're talking about. You know, that we talked about this last week, me following those absolute shredders down the Old Man Trail. Like, you know, it was so fast. It did raise my game, but eventually I crashed, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I do think that processing speed has something to do with it, but I think just like the jump gauge, there's the tech gauge. You know what I mean? Just like that same experience that you get on riding jumps and figuring out like, oh, this sort of jump at this speed with this lip, and this is how much input I need to put into it.
Yes.
I think the same happens when you're riding tech and you have your eyes up and you're not thinking about there. I would be shocked if these riders are, well, I can't even say that because I've heard some pro riders self-talk, especially we talk about the women. Yeah. When we watch the women do Red Bull, and they do have self-talk, but their self-talk's more like, I got this. They're not giving themselves riding tips while they're going. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, you ride enough and you keep your eyes up and all that stuff becomes intuitive. All that stuff. I don't even know that there is processing, you know, it's just becomes like second nature. We talk about, what's your, you know, when we meet people, what's your background? Oh, you know, I rode trials, I rode BMX, I rode dirt jumper. Yeah. But I think maybe the important thing is that I was always on bikes doing things. I mean, I rode my bike around the neighborhood. Yeah. But just that always being on bikes doing hard things kind of like sharpens that skill. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And as you were talking, I was half listening, going back to our previous pods of half
planning what I was going to say that was more interesting than what you were saying. You think that's interesting, everybody? Wait till, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to answer my own questions about the processing speed, because I love what you're saying. I think that there must be differences between processing speed. I mean, that's just, you know, some people are going to be, but I think the difference is probably very small. I think the bigger difference, like you said, comes with repetition and experience. And I think back to like ping pong and like how fast that ball moves back and forth. How much of that is like they're watching the ball versus they're taking in the whole experience. They can see how their opponent is moving, how they swung at the ball. And so very little of that is like tracking the ball. It's more about the whole experience in general. And I think in mountain biking, the same thing. What you were saying is like, they're not looking at like each individual rock and, oh, here's this. It's like, it's all happening so quick. They're just like, it's the whole experience. And they're just trusting that their body knows how to do it and how to react to it. They don't have to think through this stuff, you know? Actually, maybe I became a little bit like you. I found myself having to think on the trail. Yeah, I was like,
I became a worse rider, like you, Dan.
No.
Now I know what it feels like to go slow.
Oh, God,
I gave me a lot of compassion for you, Dan.
Hey, we're matching. Yes.
Yeah. I fell. It was a dumb fall, and I fell, and I was bleeding, and I was like, "Oh, this is how Danny feels." And now I understand it. Yeah. There's something for me to appreciate and everything. Now I know what it feels like to be slow. And did you feel lanky at one point? Did you feel like your center of gravity was too high?
Yeah.
This is what it feels like. Yeah, it's really uncomfortable. I'm surprised he even rides at all. This feels terrible.
Oh boy. No, I just meant that I had to think. And I was like, I never usually have to think on a trail. And it was very eye-opening. Yeah.
He upped your game. I wonder if you would have ridden without thinking on those trails if you weren't trying to go as fast as Ethan. You know what I mean? I wonder if you weren't trying to keep up, would you have thought less?
Yeah, I mean, there's several things, right? I mean, first of all, I was on Roach tires, so like the first 3 trails we did, I was doing on Roach tires, and that was really playing into my head. So when I got new tires, I was like, oh, how do I even trust this? So now I'm starting. So I have to I have to get to know the tires. So there's a lot that goes into this, that I couldn't just let it go.
Yeah.
But even at that,
right,
I could just notice his flow. He's effortlessly bounding, and that's what I noticed when you watch people that are really good at downhill, whether it's flow or tech. They have a movement to their body that seems effortless. You can almost see their brain not thinking. They're just reacting to the trail, and they're just I can't explain it. It's literally water. It's literally water running over and under.
Is.
Yes, it's beautiful. Yes.
Lee McCormack from Lee Likes Bikes. He's got books, and he's a very interesting and great instructor. And he used to say heavy and light. You're getting heavy and light, and it's the flow of mountain biking is getting heavy and light. And so when we're riding, I've been thinking about this more since our braking conversation. I only did one ride, but we talked about over braking and braking too much on the front brake on certain trails and using more rear brake. And when I was out on this ride yesterday, I started to think about that heavy light as I was focusing, really paying attention to being cognizant of how I brake. I started thinking about that. You want to be heavy in the corner, right? And then light coming out. You want to be heavy at the bottom of the jump and then light at the top.
Yeah.
And it's that just kind of that intuitive weight shift, and both weight, you're perfectly centered. So both weight through both wheels, and both wheels turning, keep them rolling.
Yeah.
But I think that's what you're describing and it looks so effortless because now you're unweighting and gapping certain sections and staying light, and then really heavy with tons of traction in the corner, and then light and popping out of it. And it just looks so cool and fun.
Yeah.
And I think we've all gotten there. Listeners, let us know how much have you played around with that weight shift, or start doing it. Let us know. RideandLaugh1@gmail, YouTube comments.
Yes.
But that, I think there's a lot of unlocking flow in there when we touch that.
You and I have experienced that on rhythm jumps. You literally, that's how you do a rhythm jump.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking back to boom sauce, that middle area boom sauce in the orchard feel. It's a series of doubles, and you have to get light and heavy. You have to, if you do that wrong, you feel it. It's just you'll fight the trail. And yet when you go with the trail and you feel it, it just feels so, it's that sound. It's like that whoop, whoop. And it's like, oh boy, that feels so good. Yeah, man. I love it.
It does.
Yeah.
It feels good, and it looks really cool. It's all, it all comes together. Yeah.
Yep.
When you were given the analogy about not pinball, ping pong.
Oh,
you said ping pong, right?
Pinball.
We're touching on everything here. We're touching on everything in Ride and Laugh. Listeners, you can be the pinball wizard. You can be the best pinball player.
Wow.
Nobody plays pinball anymore, do they?
No, and you did an old song callback too. These are both references from the 70s. Yeah.
Yes. Now we know when this episode comes out. So anytime we talk about a song, unless it's awful, but even then, the pinball wizard will be the music to the Instagram post. Right? Usually when we talk about a song like Art of Glass, Heart of Glass on the next one. Pinball Wizard. Pinball Wizard coming out.
I love it. That's a great song.
Yeah, think about it.
That's a great song.
Voice made.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. I was thinking about baseball. I was thinking about a baseball player. You talked about how much is the processing speed, and a baseball player has to have such good vision,
right,
and high processing speed that they're seeing. If you're as a hitter, you're looking for the rotation of the ball to know what kind of pitch it is. Yeah. They're not looking at a pitch coming and thinking, "Oh, this is a curveball. It's going to be in the zone. I'm going to swing at it." It's so much repetition.
Yeah.
It's happened so many times that they know that spin is a curveball. It's going to be in their hitting zone. They're going to swing and they're going to be able to make contact. And it's just that repetition and then to then start to be able to trust that. But you can't pick up, major league level baseball in your 20s. Like, you have to be doing that from like when you're a kid, right?
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Yeah. Well, what is your point? That we can't pick this up, or that we will eventually pick it up?
I realized that sounded a little bit limiting. After I said it, I was like, that's not right and left. Like, okay, this is not a baseball podcast. Like, I can't lie to you, everyone. You're not going to be a major league player unless you started really young. So let us know if you're on track to go to the majors. That's awesome. We would love to have some young players that make it to the majors. But you're probably not then also mountain biking, right? I think if you're practicing to be a professional level baseball player, I don't think you're also mountain biking. Way in the weeds. My point is the processing speed. You said, how much is processing speed? Right. And being able to get to the point where you're just riding without thinking. And that you don't have to go fast for that. I think the speed comes when you're riding without thinking, and you're trusting, and you're centered, and you're waiting, and you're unwaiting, and you start to feel that flow. The speed comes. How often do you get your best Strava time on a segment when you weren't going for it? You're just riding and having fun. You hear people say that all the time.
It's never happened for me.
Not you?
No. If I get a top 10,
you've never gotten a PR. No, you've never gotten a PR and been like, oh, I wasn't even. I didn't feel like I was pushing on that.
No, I'm usually going hard on it, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen that, and I've heard people say that, and it makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Listeners, let us know. Right and Left One at Gmail, YouTube comments. Are you getting your best times when you're not trying versus when you're trying? Or have you experienced that, the entering into that flow state and just realizing that you just had fun out there and you rode really fast because you were just flowing?
Yeah.
I think more on a downhill. On an uphill, a lot of times you're trying. You're putting the effort in. It hurts, or a cross country, like a flatter or an uphill, segment.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. You're not going to surprise yourself. I will say because my life has been so busy, and because it's been the summertime here, summertime for a lot of our listeners, but the summer in Phoenix is so hot that unless you ride first thing in the morning, you're really going to not ride outside. So I've been doing more structured training on the indoor trainer. The most structured training I've done in probably about a year or so. My FTP is going up, and you're looking at like 3+ hours on the trainer, maybe 2 hours on the trainer on a weekend ride. So not a ton of time.
Yeah.
And I went to Gold Canyon, and and it was hot. By the time I started, I was like in the heat of the day, but man, I felt strong. I felt really good. That works.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah. That climb is no joke at Gold Canyon. Dude, that climb is it's like the tech climber's dream, I guess. It's not it's like you're climbing, the elevation is significant, but it's so much involvement on your body that it's not just like the trainer just trains your legs, and that's fantastic. Like, you have to have the leg power.
Right.
But Gold Canyon climb, that's a full body climb. Like, you can't just stay seated the whole way up. And the fact that you're feeling strong on that climb and in the heat, that's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah. I hadn't been riding as much, so I didn't do as well. I want to get that climb, no dabs. I know I can do it. I've gotten all the hard parts 2 times ago, and I just dabbed on it's a difficult part, but it's a part that I could totally get.
Yeah.
I missed one of the switchbacks. There was the second or third switchback in that climb, and Sage is going to have the video out on this soon because there's going to be a trail Sage on it. It's just really, really sharp. In fact, the first time we rode there together, you got that switchback the first time, and you took a line that I had never considered. You took the line that looks harder.
Yeah.
But it's actually easier because it's a switchback that goes into a step up.
Right.
Or you can kind of like make the switchback even tighter and keep it smooth. And I always tried to do the tighter, smoother line, and I would end up running out of trail. First time you did it, you went right up the step up.
Yep.
And that's the line.
Yep.
That's the line. You got to really keep your eyes up. And sometimes what looks harder is actually easier, kind of like life, right?
Yeah.
Just take the path that's in front of you. You know, if you're trying to work your way around to what looks like the easiest thing, it may not, like, just do what's in front of you.
Yeah. Isn't that like so interesting how, like, if you've been riding a trail like a certain way, like I can't, and then somebody comes and then they just have they're not stuck into that, like, oh, this is the line, I have to do this line. It's like, they're looking at it as a complete blank sheet of paper. It's like, oh no, every option is available, and they're able to discern what. That's happened to me so many times, and somebody will just come by and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that you could do it like that. And it's like, oh, that fresh set of eyes makes a huge. I wonder if we could do that. Can we do that? Can we like erase the brain and just look at everything? If you're struggling in a section,
oh, I love that.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I love that.
Oh, that would be so cool.
That's I mean, when you came out here to visit, there were so many things that you were like, we can do this. This is possible. What if we did this instead?
Yeah.
And you were here for what was it? 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks. I mean, my progression was it not that long? It was 3 weeks. It was 3.5 weeks. I wish it was longer. You could tell. I'm like, well,
yep.
You were here for a couple of years, right? I remember that. Well, we rode every day, so it felt like we got 6 weeks of riding in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we did.
But you really did open my eyes to so many things, because you know my level and I know your level, and you did so many things differently, or just went for it. You're like, no, we got this. That I had already put up walls in the short amount of time I had been here. I'd already put up walls.
Yeah.
So I love that concept of let's look at the trail brand new every time.
Wipe the slate. Yes. Could we? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Is it possible? I don't know if it is.
Well, it feels like it's not, because we're so conditioned to create patterns. I think that, right, humans create patterns. We're so conditioned to create patterns, and this is what I'm capable of. But we talk about being unlimited all the time,
right? And
unlimited means anything is possible. So we take away, if you remove limiting belief systems. I'm not a good jumper. You remove that thought from your mind, and you just don't. Just now you live without that thought of I'm not a good jumper, and then see what happens. Instead, you replace it with I am a good jumper, or I'm improving. I'm really good at this. I'm really comfortable in the air. So if we remove these limiting beliefs, then anything is possible. We can go and look at a trail and say, what else is possible here? Just like we can take a step back and look at our lives. What else is possible? What do I want? What makes me excited? I'm going to follow that. I'm going to follow my passion. We're already mountain biking. We're already doing something that's kind of crazy. We're getting on bikes and riding them on dirt and rocks, and there's a chance we're going to get hurt. And sometimes we do get hurt, and we just get up and we keep doing it again because we love it. That's passion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So same thing in life. Follow that passion. What makes you excited? And let's see how it all works out. Because I know mountain biking, if you're listening to this podcast, you love mountain biking, and mountain biking has been good to you. It's worked out for you. It's brought you joy. It's brought you fun. Even listening right now.
Yeah.
The community, right? And getting better at something, the fitness, the fun. So what else can work out for us? I absolutely love that idea. Let's take away all these limiting beliefs that we have, and let's look at the trail in a different way. Let's be open to that. Instead of saying that's impossible, let's say that is possible.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm actually kind of excited to go back to, I like I said, I got those new tires, and one of the rides I want to do is I want to get back to Mount Penn. I want to try this. I want to try and go to a section that I typically struggle with. And there's a few at Mount Penn that don't suit my eye. I'll say that, and what if I just looked at it completely with a new, fresh set of eyes and just opened myself to every possibility, things that, oh, no, you can't go that way. Well, why can't we? Why can't we? What if that's actually the better line? I love that, dude. I'm going to give that a shot.
I recently rode, we talked about it last week, the ride I did where we went down Old Man, and I was with Nathan from Ride Reactive, and I was with his buddy Dustin. And these guys in a downhill sort of way. But these guys are always looking for new lines, new features. What else can we jump off of? What else can we ride?
Love that.
You know, like
Love
we couldn't finish the ride. I couldn't get back to the lot because these guys wanted to stop and look at so many things. Eventually I was like, all right, guys, you know, I'll see you later, because he was just like, Justin's like, I think we could jump off of that. Nathan's like, remember when we jumped this before? I know we could build this up. And if we build this, we can jump over here. You got to clear that bush though. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, some of the things they were talking about were like very intimidating. I was just like, you guys are crazy. But but that's great. Anytime that you say you guys are crazy, it just shows you what's possible. We talked about this. When you have that thought of you guys are crazy, it's like, oh, you're actually, what they are is unlimited. What they are is pure potential. What they are is what you are as well. You also can do all of those things. Anything is possible. We can all get to that level. Ride at your comfort, and then, but be open-minded and see what happens. You're going to, there's more, we have more skill. We can unlock more that's already within us.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe that's pointing you towards something where that you get coaching and all of a sudden you're infinitely better. You're not just avoiding crashes. Now you're infinitely better at riding because you learn so much from coaching, or, you know, I'm just saying as an example that, you know, like, let's just say everything's happening for us. If this is leading us to a certain path, you know, and now I want to get a coach because I feel like I'm falling too much, and then see what happens. I've done clinics, and one time I did the bike clinic was our buddy Curtis saw me on Strava, say that I crashed again. And he was like, hey man, I know a really good bike coach. Like, you shouldn't be crashing this much. It's much more fun when you're not. And it's, you know, and it's safer. And I did that clinic. This is years ago.
And you're still crashing.
Think of it. And I am still crashing, but much safer. Shoot, that wasn't a great advertisement for Dirt Smart. I am crashing a lot less. Yes. I will say that. I'm a better rider. I mean, look, I crashed because I push limits.
I was just about to say, you're crashing because you're doing harder things. You're not crashing on the same stuff that you used to crash on. Your level is much better. And the coaching is actually a really good analogy to what we were just talking about, wiping the slate clean. You know, you're looking at a line and it's like, I've always done it this way. And somebody comes in and shows you a better line. Coaching is the same way. And you have to approach getting coached the same way. You have to wipe your slate clean. I'm noticing this now because I am coaching. The hardest thing is to get the person to let it go. Let go of everything that you've just been doing and just listen. Listen to what I'm saying. Watch what I'm doing. Forget how you've been doing it. You wipe your slate clean and just be open to receive, and then just trust. You know, okay, this person's been doing this for a really long time. Maybe he knows what he's doing, or she knows what he's doing. She knows what she's doing. What is happening? You know what I'm trying to say.
They know what they're doing.
Thank you. They know. And I struggle with that too. But I've noticed that the more that I stop injecting myself into the situation, I let go of my ego, the more I get out of it. You know, I listen to a Logan, you know, he's telling me about a jump and he's telling me about a line. And I stop myself from going, I say, wait a second, Logan's a way better rider than you. Why don't you just listen? Shut up and listen.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like when I looked at the line that Dustin took behind the waterfall at South Mountain, and like I was like, wow, you know, it looks scary and I didn't want to do it yet, but I don't want to stand up there and be like, I'm never doing this. I'm standing up there and I'm being like, yeah, you know, if I want to do this, if I want to, I can do this. I can get to this spot, you know, and there's other features out here. There's other things that we've talked about, you know, where I'm like, yeah, I can get there. And so instead of just saying, I can't do it yet, but I can get there. I can see it happening. Just envision it happening and then let it go. No judgment if you walk away from a feature. That's a big one in mountain biking. No judgment. Do not be hard on yourself. Be able to walk away from features that you're scared of or jumps that you're scared of. If you don't feel it, let's not pay that dirt tax. We don't have to. Get to the point where you're like, yeah, I totally got this. No dirt tax.
I love that, dude. I love it. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Great stuff. I got to mention also from that Embrace the Case episode, we got a super thanks from Evan at Venture Mountain Bike. So thank you very much, Evan. Really appreciate the support. We had Evan and Sean and Mark also say that they ride with bike computers.
Yeah.
And a couple of people even use the heart rate monitor. So I thought we should mention that based on the giant L we took on the chamois cream. We weren't sure if people were still using bike computers. So it's nice to not get completely demolished on the bike computer front.
Yeah.
People like having the data right in front of them. That was the feedback I got, was more data, but it's you get it instantly instead of having to look at your watch. And I like that too.
Yeah, definitely two different kinds of riders, right? You have the data guys and then you have the feel guys, you know, and you can have a little bit of in between as well. Like I consider myself an in-betweener. Evan, thank you so much. I noticed that as well. And he has a fantastic channel. He's a great guy, great rider up in the Northeast. I think he's North New Jersey or something like that. Evan, you have to let us know, but
Long Island, I think.
Long Island,
actually, I have a comment. One of his, he did a great video on why all young people should mountain bike.
Yeah.
And I took some notes on it. And I was going to bring it up as like a podcast subject. Maybe we'll dig into that, on a different episode. But it's really cool. He's a young guy who mountain bikes, and to hear his perspective of what mountain biking does for him and why he recommends, everyone get into it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really cool. Really an interesting angle, since we're old guys. I really enjoyed hearing that angle. I know,
dude, our listeners have tremendous insights. Like the more I think about we got the show, like you and me, we got the show. We're the hosts, but like compared to our listeners, like these guys and gals are bringing in some tremendous insights. I'm never not doing this podcast and not amazed at how much I don't know. We'll get a comment and I'm just like, holy crap, I never thought of things that way,
I think you just hit the rare triple negative. It might have even been a quadruple negative. You had so many not. Like a triple Lindy. Going way back, anyone that knows what the triple Lindy is. There's Rodney Dangerfield, Back to School.
Yes.
Hilarious movie.
Great movie. Yes.
Yeah. But what your point is, I think is solid. Even though you had so many negatives in there, I'm not sure if you contradicted yourself.
I ended back in front. No, I ended back in front. Yeah.
A triple negative does end up being a positive again.
Yes, I did it.
Yes. Triple negative and second person. It was amazing.
It was triple negative second person.
It's our listeners definitely go from beginner to expert. We've gotten all sorts of people writing in, all sorts of clearly people that love riding all the time and are relating to a lot of what we're saying, and they're giving us great feedback. We appreciate that. If you're listening, any feedback, any thoughts, any comments, put it in the YouTube comments. And even if you just want to say enjoying the pod, that really does help the algorithm. Remember to give us 5 stars on Apple and Spotify and all the podcast players, and leave us a review. That makes a big difference. We got an awesome review that I will read next week because we're getting a little bit tight on time. But really, really, really great listeners and really great comments. I was wondering, we make so many jokes about previous podcasts, as I was listening to this week's podcast where my imaginary friend is Benoit, that only makes sense if you listen to the previous ones where I butchered Benoit's name to Benoit. So if you're not sure, if you're listening and you're like, what's the joke here? Let us know if we need to do a catch up. Maybe we do a catch up episode where we get everyone into the inside jokes. Yeah,
I thought you were going to tell everybody to go back a couple of episodes. You gotta do your homework.
Oh yeah. No, we're not doing a catch up episode. Go back and listen. You're totally right. Sorry, everyone. I was willing to bail you out, but Sage is right. Go download the episode or watch it on YouTube. Yeah, help our numbers. Yeah. This podcast isn't going to listen to itself. Oh man, awesome stuff.
Yes.
All right. Mountain bike gratitude of the week.
Yes, sir. You want to head it off or?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short. I've been riding this indoor trainer and it came with a bike seat, and that bike seat was absolutely killing me. And it seems like it's a nice enough seat. I wear the chamois cream. It was killing me. And I really like the Specialized seats.
Yes.
And I have measured my sit bones before. I had a Specialized Henge Expert like seat just like in my garage. I don't know which bike I was going to put this on, probably the Pivot, but actually the stock seat that came with the Pivot I like. So I just had this seat in the garage and I was like, you know what? I'm putting the seat onto my trainer, and I did, and I can ride that trainer for an hour 15. And boy, does my butt and my taint thank me. It makes all the difference, just having a little bit of extra comfort. So I have a lot of gratitude towards the Specialized seat. I think they make great seats, and the Henge Expert is the one that I'm riding. But get your hip bones measured. We've talked about this in the past. Find a seat that's really comfortable. And so I appreciate that. The more time I'm spending on that trainer, it's pretty monotonous. It's pretty hard. You want to at least be comfortable. So my taint thanks you. Specialized, thank you from my taint.
It's actually pretty cool that you brought that up as your gratitude, because it kind of brings the whole subject, how we started this pod, full circle, because we talked about contact points and, tires, saddle, pedals, right? And it's funny, like, I don't know if you feel this way, but I definitely feel this way. Like I'm definitely have a brand of saddles. Like I love Specialized saddles. They just match my rear end very well. And it would take very hard convincing to move me from a different saddle. And I was thinking about it and I was like, I feel the same way about tires. It's very hard to move me from a tire that I like, so I wonder if our listeners can have that same experience with saddles, like, nah, this is what I use and I ain't messing with it.
I think you find something that's comfortable and you're like, okay, this is my saddle. And everyone, let us know. Yeah. YouTube comments, Ride and Laugh 1. Like, have you gotten a bike where it comes with a stock saddle and you're like, I can't do this. Like you've got to go and you like, when you buy a bike, you got to budget the grips you like. You got to buy pedals. That's right. And you got to budget the saddle that you like. Like there's another $120 in there for grips.
Yeah.
and the saddle. Yeah. Plus you got to buy pedals. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I know.
Or let alone tires. Like usually you're just like, all right, I'll wear out whatever tires came with it, and then I'm going to put on whatever my favorite are. So it's really cool that you kind of were forced into trying the radials, the Schwab like.
I know. Yep.
Because I've been hesitant to put them on because I really like my setup right now. And I'm like, maybe I won't, but I'm going to try them also. Yeah, that's really cool.
My gratitude goes right back to what we were just talking about with the Radial tires. And it is Mason at Mountain Creek Bike Park. And he was the mechanic there, and just what a nice guy, super knowledgeable. And I'm telling him my concerns, I didn't want to buy two tires. I was like, can we just do just one? Because I didn't want to get like a heavier tire. And he was just so knowledgeable about it. And he wasn't trying to make a sell. Like he could have easily upsold me on the higher one. He didn't. And he's just very patient with me. And I really appreciate it, Mason. Thank you. And he ended up giving me a small discount. I got recognized and he's like, oh, you're like a celebrity. And I was like, let's not go that far. But he ended up giving me a
kind of a big deal around here. Yeah. Kind of a big deal. Yeah.
He gave me an industry discount is what he called it. And I was like, well, thank you very much, mate.
Yo.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. What he didn't tell you was that these tires are going to be slick on asphalt for about 5 minutes. Don't do anything stupid for 5 minutes. Yeah, he came outside with a camera phone and was just following you around. This is going to be great.
Yo,
on Friday Fails right now. Yeah. He doesn't know. Look at this. Look at this guy. He thinks he's a coach. Look at this guy riding asphalt like an idiot. No pads, mind you. Yeah.
So
they had a bet. Let's see how long it takes. See how long it takes this guy to fall over. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Yes. Thank you, Mason. Mountain bikers, great people. If you're a bike mechanic, there's a really good chance that you love mountain biking. So totally gets it. So yeah, really cool. And yeah, just putting a new rear tire on and having a completely shredded front tire, probably not a great experience. So put on 2 new tires and just enjoy it and love it and get all that traction, and don't wait until the last minute next time, even though this is going to work out for you. But you knew those tires were,
I thought I could get away with a little bit more. I honestly, and that's that part of my gratitude was being on that gondola and Ethan seeing that, because I would have just went there because I was planning on just doing flow trails. I don't need tread for the flow trails. But Ethan looking at it and then, just so much gratitude. So much gratitude. Yep. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Mountain bike tip of the week. is to lube your BOA.
Oh, I didn't know what a BOA was for a second. I had to think, and I was like, this is really bad.
Yeah. When I came up with this, I was like, this is going to sound really, really terrible.
It sounded
lube
terrible.
your BOA. Most people are like, yeah. Yeah. First of all, I don't think that's the tip that we're looking for. Secondly, everyone already knows that. The BOA that I'm talking about is on your shoes. The BOA systems are the tensioning systems on mountain bike shoes.
That's right.
And so the ones that I have on my Fox Union shoes, you pull it up to release, and then you push it down and you twist it, and it tightens the shoe system. And they're really common on mountain bike shoes now. And Joe actually told me this because we have the same shoes. Joe Mullins actually told me this, that I noticed that when you like loosen the shoe, it was still really stiff and it was really hard to get my foot out. And he said, put a little bit, just a little touch of lube into the BOA system and it slides beautifully. It still locks it, but it opens and closes so much easier. The shoe loosens and tightens so much easier now.
Yes.
Yeah. And I did it once and they're fantastic. It's for like 9 months ago, and I'm in the desert with sand and everything like that, but they're smooth. So yeah, a little bit of grease or any sort of lubricant. I think I use the
WD-40.
What's the triple
or T9?
No, what's the triple one called?
Triple? What? I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, the Tri-Gold.
Something like that. I don't know. You can edit this part out because this is annoying. Ride Left One at Gmail. What kind of lube did I use?
Winner gets a shake. Tri-Flow. Bam.
Yes.
All right.
But super helpful on the bone. Yes.
Okay.
And I thought it was a funny way to get into it. So yeah, lube your BOA. Keep your mind out of the gutter. Listen. If you're still listening, you are definitely one of us. You love mountain biking. We appreciate you. Please leave a comment. Please write in rideandlaugh1 at Gmail. Please give us 5 stars on your podcast player. Go into Apple. Leave us a review. That really helps. Tell your friends. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We are accepting super thanks if you're feeling generous. Everyone have a fantastic week. A great week of riding. Ride and laugh.
I'll see you, everyone.